Hi, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are. Thanks so much for joining this presentation. I know it's a holiday for some, for other business owners, they are working today. It's one of those like optional holidays, I guess. So I'm very excited to be presenting to you today, and I will share my screen right now so that you can see the topic and we can get started right away. So let me share my screen. There you go. Hopefully you can all see my screen. Mike, can you see my screen?
Yep, we're good.
Perfect. Okay. So you have registered for a talk called How to Have More Fun with Jewelry Marketing. I wanted to do something a little bit different and unconventional. And I also just wanted to have fun with this presentation. So hopefully I'll add a little bit of fun to your day. So I'll get started right now. So in this presentation, I'll share tips for making jewelry marketing more entertaining and engaging, all in a way that can be adapted to fit your individual brand messaging. So any jewelry brand, from the solopreneur to the multi-million-dollar brand, will be able to adapt my tips today, something for everyone. If you don't know me or Joy Joya, I want to give you a little bit of background information. So Joy Joya is my digital marketing agency. I am trying to like admit people and also messing with my presentation. So let me just go back. Sorry. So Joy Joya, we are an LA-based digital marketing agency exclusively for jewelry brands, founded by me, Larissa Werstiak. We help jewelry entrepreneurs grow their businesses so they can add more beauty and wonder to the world. Our digital marketing support services are comprehensive and varied, and we tailor our solutions on an individual basis so each one of our clients gets a personalized experience, one that's uniquely suited for their category, stage of growth, goals, and more. Here's a picture of me. I'm the founder and creative director of Joy Joya. Some of you might know me from my podcast, the Joy Joya Jewelry Marketing Podcast. It's both on your favorite podcast platform and on YouTube. If you don't already subscribe, I highly recommend you go do that today, because there are almost 160 free episodes of weekly content. I give tons of advice. I have amazing guests. I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I think the content's pretty great. So I invite you to check that out. I'm also the author of Jewelry Marketing Joy, which is a full-length paperback book that is an approachable introduction to marketing your jewelry brand. I've presented at a number of industry conferences, and I'm a frequent guest on webinars, etc. So that's why you should trust me today. So I want to do something a little bit fun, because this presentation is all about fun. And I'm going to be doing a giveaway at the end of my presentation for 3 paperback copies of my book, Jewelry Marketing Joy. If you want to enter today, you have to do one little thing for me. In the chat, I would like you to please share the #1 marketing challenge that you are currently facing with your business at this time. That's all. And then Joy Joya marketing assistant Katie is on this Zoom, and she's going to take all your names and put them in a wheel of fortune that we will spin at the end of the presentation. So the only rules are, unfortunately, to my international viewers, you have to be in the US and you have to stay till the end of this live presentation. And then Katie will private message the winners to get your address. So again, all you have to do in the chat right now, share your #1 marketing challenge that you are currently sharing with your jewelry business. All right, let's get started. So first, you're probably wondering, having fun with your jewelry marketing, why should you want to do that? Why is that important? Am I just telling you this because I think it's interesting and entertaining? No, the data actually tells us that customers want you to have more fun with your marketing. Customers today want to be entertained. That's what they are desiring and craving. So according to a 2022 US Consumer Trends report by Attest, 57% of Americans want brands to entertain them and make them laugh. And more especially if your target audience includes boomers, 66% of just this generation, boomers, want messaging that entertains them. So it's in your best interest, according to the data, to have more fun with marketing and to take your brand a little less seriously in its communications. What are some other things that consumers want from brands today? 47% want brands to make them feel motivated or inspired. And in general, Americans want brands to be educational, thought-provoking, and reassuring. Another reason that you want to consider having more fun with your marketing has to do with why consumers are buying jewelry in general today. And this will vary from one brand to another because, of course, if you sell bridal jewelry, your consumer or wedding jewelry, your consumer motivation will be a little bit different than a brand that caters to like the millennial self-purchaser. But overall, this is some general data that applies to the jewelry industry as a whole. So according to a survey conducted by TPC Industry and Market Insights 2021, 40% of the 1,000 US jewelry consumers surveyed for the report rate self-purchase most important. So self-purchase, I mean, we hear this term a lot in the jewelry industry today. More women and men feel empowered to purchase jewelry for themselves. So what are the top reasons people are purchasing jewelry for themselves? They can get exactly what they want. They can reward themselves for a milestone just because, and also commemorating a special memory or trip. Last time I checked, all of these reasons are fun. Jewelry is definitely not an essential item like, say, toilet paper or something like that you'd buy at a grocery store. And shopping for luxury goods as well as everyday accessories is not only fun, but also a form of self-expression for these people who are purchasing themselves jewelry. As a result, they're really craving that fun customer experience because when they go and buy a piece of jewelry for themselves, they want it to be enjoyable. They're doing it because it's a form of entertainment, a form of distraction, a form of celebrating the self. So your consumers, especially if they are self-purchasing, want that element of fun in your brand messaging. So hopefully at this point, you are convinced that having fun is essential and important. So let's talk about all the ways that you can actually do that. I'm going to share 5 ways. Again, this can be scaled based on whether you are a solopreneur jewelry brand or a multi-million-dollar jewelry brand. It can work for you no matter what category of jewelry you sell. There's a way to kind of adapt this based on your products, your customer, your situation in regard to your team and resources. So let's get to the first one. Oh, also, I want to mention before we do get to the first one, you want to tap into your customer motivations since they may not be the same from one jewelry brand to another. And if you listen to my podcast, you know this is something I am constantly talking about. Know your customer inside and out, because whether he or she wants fun or something else, that's ultimately going to be the deciding factor of how you approach communications. But there's a good chance that regardless of who the customer is, they want to have fun in their interactions with you. Nobody counts the number of ads you run. They just remember the impression you make. I think that's a really important point to remember. You know, you can invest all of this money into marketing. You can be super specific about it. You can hire an agency, but if the customer isn't feeling something that they can carry with them for the next few days, for the next few months or years, then you've kind of failed in your marketing. Consumers remember the way they feel about you, and that is the most important in all of these tips that I'm going to share today. So the number one way or idea that you can start having more fun with your marketing is to upgrade your packaging and unboxing experience. When was the last time that you kind of audited your entire packaging experience? And would you say that it's kind of like social media ready? So you want to share your packaging on your website, on social media. You also want to be encouraging your customers to share their own unboxings and then reposting your content. I don't know about you, but one of the most fun things for me, when I get a new piece of jewelry from the store or especially in the mail, is opening that package and the anticipation of getting to the piece within the box, within the pouch, under the tissue paper, etc. And if that experience falls flat for me, there's a pretty good chance I'm not going to order from that brand again, even if I love that jewelry, because I really want to feel like it's the holidays when I order myself something and get it in the mail. If you ship your jewelry, take the time to create a beautiful unboxing experience. Invest that money, thought, intention into the packaging. Use a branded shipping box, for example, with printed collateral or branded tissue paper, and have multiple components to the packaging. So there's a many layered experience. Think about creating the anticipation. Now, some of you on this webinar may not be e-commerce based. You may not be shipping your jewelry. So if your customers are picking up in store, then consider a way to make that experience feel more VIP for your customers. For example, have a glass of champagne waiting for him or her, or assign a specific salesperson to unveil the product in a special way. So I think even if you're not e-commerce only, there are still ways to really translate that packaging and unboxing experience to the in-store model as well. And here I just shared 3 examples with the photographs from Instagram of jewelry brands that have really interesting and shareable packaging and unboxing experiences. So if you kind of want to see for yourself, you can check out these brands on social media. But I'm sure all of you in this industry have at some point come across a jewelry brand or even another type of brand. Maybe it's a fashion brand, maybe it's a beauty brand, and you received that package at home and you opened it and it made you feel really special. And like the brand put a lot of thought into that packaging experience. This is one way to create fun. And I really encourage you all to at least consider your current packaging experience and how it can be improved. So my second tip to have more fun with your marketing is to try being a little bit more authentic, off the cuff, sharing behind the scenes content. One thing that I personally encounter with my clients, with business owners in the industry, is they're so caught up in the day-to-day. They're so caught up in the seriousness of their craft that they forget that for the consumer, the experience isn't so serious necessarily. Again, the consumer is wanting to have fun. So they approach all their communications in a very formal, pre-planned, strategic, rehearsed way. Now, of course, it's important to plan your content, but maybe think about how you can add some authenticity into your content and even build in space to your social media calendar, to your email calendar, to your general content calendar for some spontaneity as well. And what I mean by that is maybe some behind the scenes content at your business that seems interesting. Like the customer might want to know what the fulfillment experience is like at your company. So maybe you show some employees actually boxing up an order ready to go out to a customer. You may think that that is a little bit like scrappy looking, like why would I want to reveal this kind of behind the scenes, not glamorous aspect of my business? But those are the things that really show your vulnerability as a brand and ultimately build trust with your customers. And that's what today's consumers are really looking for. There was a recent survey, I wish I had linked it here, that today's consumers, because they don't trust things like government institutions necessarily, like the media, they are starting to look to businesses to be the trusted authority in the world. As a business owner, that is a really big responsibility to have. And you have to kind of consider that in every interaction that you take. And having more fun, being more playful, shows that you are not afraid to show a vulnerable side of your brand. So I put two examples here instead of me talking in generalities. You can check out these accounts on Instagram. Sarah Briggs Jewelry is one that I really like because the owner is always revealing parts of like her personal life, showing behind the scenes at their studio, having like fun little interactions with her employees. And Catbird NYC is another great example. They're both using their social media channels as a way to not only share their values as a brand, but also behind the scenes content of their workspace and team. So my third tip is to potentially consider building a long-term partnership with an ambassador or influencer, especially if this is not something that you've tried in your marketing before. Usually when I talk to clients or people in the industry about influencer marketing, the first thing that comes to their mind is like working with the latest, hottest Insta model who has like 1.3 million followers. And she's like shilling all these fashion brands and has all these highly like filtered photos. And it puts a little bit of a bad taste in their mouth because they feel there's a sense of inauthenticity there, that they're just going to get lost in this shuffle of sponsored content. Influencer marketing or brand ambassadorship does not have to be like that. In fact, I encourage you not to go that route if you are thinking about pursuing influencer marketing. I think it's better, especially if you are a business with a local customer base, to work with micro influencers. So these are people with maybe only a few thousand followers, but they have a highly engaged audience, people who are frequently commenting on and liking their posts, and they post very thoughtful, authentic content. And they're not necessarily working with a lot of other brands. They kind of just use social media for the passion of it because they love to share things that they are passionate and excited about. So finding a micro influencer like that who works with your target customer, so someone who seems to be representative of your target customer, and finding ways to partner with that person on content creation can be a way to bring more fun into your marketing because this person has an outsider perspective. This person can come across as a little more trustworthy to your consumers because, again, they are an outsider, not someone within your company marketing at them. And it's a really great way to build that element of fun because you can also reshare that content. You can brainstorm with that person, again, someone outside of your company, to come up with unique ideas for presenting your jewelry. That influencer can really show your jewelry in a more like slice of life, everyday way. And that if you really give that person the creative power, they can express themselves with your jewelry pieces, also showing consumers how they can have fun with your jewelry. So this is something I would really encourage. Again, influencer marketing has this kind of negative reputation, but if you work with the micro influencers, it can be really impactful for your brand. And here I just have a few examples. This brand, Pura Vida, they make inspirational jewelry, a lot of bracelets. These are examples of some influencers they've partnered with. And as you can see, all these women are having a lot of fun and showing the jewelry in a lighthearted and playful way. So my number 4 tip is to consider hosting a giveaway or a contest. just like I'm doing today with my book. What can be more fun to consumers than a contest or giveaway? I screenshotted this recent Valentine's Day example from Levion. They partnered with the chocolate company Godiva, which seems like such a natural partnership to me with their chocolate diamonds. I mean, what is more appropriate for Valentine's Day than that? And this was to celebrate the launch of their most recent collection. Another example is James Allen, the wedding jewelry brand. Last year hosted an engagement ring giveaway for a chance to win a $10,000 engagement ring. Now, if you're a smaller brand, you may not have the budget to give away a very expensive piece or even a large sum of money. But perhaps there are other ways you can approach doing a giveaway. Maybe it's a gift card. Maybe it's some kind of special exclusive discount. Maybe it's a VIP experience, like they get to come behind the scenes with you and have input on designing a custom piece. You can really get creative and tailor this to your resources and what you have available. But it's a great way to drive engagement, to get your followers to pay attention to you, and to try something new and really get like feedback from your audience and get them involved in a way that's different from the everyday. And number 5, I think this is the most important one personally, is to really lean into content marketing. So instead of doing sales and promotional content all the time, you can provide value through content. So what do I mean by this? I subscribe to probably every jewelry brand's email list in the world. My inbox is like crazy, like every promotional email. It's usually, we're having a sale. Here's a new product. Here's a product we're highlighting. We have a new collection. It's all usually very sales or promotional focused content. And there's absolutely a place for that. And it should be part of an email strategy. But consumers can really become fatigued when literally their entire inbox is selling at them. So mixing up some of that sales and promotional content with more value-driven content can cause someone who would otherwise just quickly skip over that subject line to maybe pay attention because you're sharing something different and new. So examples of this might be a blog post, a quiz, which is super popular now and one of the best ways to drive engagement, to have a quiz on your website that helps someone like find their style or the type of jewelry piece they would like, or a piece for like an upcoming event that they're having. You can get really playful with this. Doing a live stream, whether that's on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, sharing audio content, doing videos apart from the social media platforms, hosting them on your own website, providing styling and sizing guides, maybe as PDF downloads that people can get in exchange for signing up to your email list. You want to always remember with every piece of content to create to focus on the emotional resonance of your jewelry and share less about the product features and details. So again, going back to that quote I shared earlier in this presentation, your customers are more likely to remember how you made them feel than anything that you like sold at them. So if you can get them to feel a certain way, that's going to be more impactful over the long run. The best part about all these ideas is that they can infuse fun into your marketing if you are creative in the way you approach them with your topics. However, if you're a brand that is more luxury, say, that you're not necessarily like fun, like wear, maybe you're more serious or more formal, you can balance having fun with still having that more formal or serious tone. There's a way to do all of this and adapt it to your brand identity without necessarily undermining your brand DNA. So here's a jewelry style quiz from Ava Jewelry, just as an example, ready to ignite the magic within. Again, this title even is not necessarily like unserious. it's still kind of serious and professional, but the customer knows that when he or she begins this quiz, it will be a fun little break from their day that they can play and really explore jewelry options for themselves. So again, why does this all matter? Why are we talking about fun, which can seem like a little bit of an arbitrary thing? Having fun doesn't only matter for your customers, but it also matters internally for your team and your business. And even if you're a solopreneur, it matters for yourself as well. If you are just approaching all your messaging in a serious way, it can truly burn you out, and it can burn out your team members and the people who handle your marketing. But if you're approaching it with the goal to have some enjoyment and really add playfulness and creativity, it can keep you motivated as a business owner, and it can really make you excited to plan your marketing and have these amazing interactions with your customers. It also helps remind you why your customers buy your jewelry in the first place, and could even ultimately impact your merchandising strategy as well. So the way that you choose to present your products, which products you highlight when, it can really cause you to reflect on perhaps what new products and collections do you want to share in the future, with the goal of really delighting your customer is the point of all of this. So that is my presentation. I would love your questions. Before I get to your questions, I do want to remind you, if you loved this topic and you want to do more exploration on your own, I have a lot of free resources for you. You can check out the Joy Joya podcast. Just even if you search for it on Google, you'll find all the different ways that it's available. And my book, Jewelry Marketing Joy, which you can learn more about on Amazon or by visiting joyjoya.com/book. And at this point, I am going to do the giveaway. I have the wheel here. I'm going to stop sharing for one moment and then reshare the wheel for you. And I will do this giveaway live, because who doesn't love a spinning wheel? So just give me 1 second. And in the meantime, if you want to think of some questions that you want to ask me, that would be great. So I'm going to share my screen again. See, share screen. Okay, can everyone share my screen? I mean, can everyone see my screen? Mike, can you see it?
Yep, looks good.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna spin. I love this wheel of names. The first winner is Amy Masor. I think I'm saying that right. So Joy Joya marketing assistant Katie will private message you on Zoom to get your address. I'm going to spin again for the next winner. It looks like Catalina de Lima is our second winner. And the third winner is M. Alpert. Thank you all for entering. I would love to, and again, Katie's gonna message you in the chat so you can give her your mailing address. But now I would love to take any questions that you have. Please don't be shy. Or even I would love to answer any marketing questions you might have that aren't related to having fun either. Challenge me. I love a challenge. I love getting stumped. So feel free to ask me whatever you would like to ask. How to seek out a micro influencer? Yeah, that's a really great question. I like to start by searching for various hashtags on Instagram. So for example, and this is much easier to do if you're more of a niche brand. So if you specialize in a certain type of jewelry. So for example, I have one client who specializes in jewelry that appeals to like an equestrian lifestyle, people who love horses and who love like horse related lifestyle things. So a client like that could search for Instagram for like hashtag equestrian lifestyle and maybe look at the people who are posting under that type of hashtag. And it's really about organic research. So going through some of those posts, familiarizing yourself with the people who are posting under that hashtag regularly and who seem to have really high quality, interesting content, following them, kind of keeping an eye on them, interacting with them also to build an organic relationship. You would kind of have to figure out like what are the hashtags that make sense for my customer base. Maybe it's like a woman in her 50s. So I know there are hashtags specifically for women of various decades who post their style posts. So you'd kind of you'd have to start there and get a little bit of experimental with the hashtags that you search and follow. Let's see. We have, how can I encourage a jewelry client to get more involved? I suggest things like this all the time, but they really don't want to put in the extra effort when we're responsible for their marketing. Do you mean a jewelry brand trying to do these things? Krista, I think you might have to elaborate a little bit more. Okay, how to encourage a jewelry brand to do more of this? My answer is if they are not invested in it, you can't do anything to change that. Maybe that's a bad answer, but you can, as a marketer, and I know this because I am a marketer, you cannot do everything for the business. You support them in their marketing. So if they're not willing to invest in it, that has to be a two-way street. Hopefully that is helpful and gives you some validation in your work, Krista. Tips specifically for a high jewelry brand. That's a kind of general question, but I think one thing that I just see is many high jewelry brands take themselves super seriously, and they should, because it's a luxury product and they need to be presenting themselves in a certain way. But I think it's really important, even for high jewelry brands, to look for ways to bring in that element of fun, balancing playfulness with seriousness, because even those clients who have the really high budget, who are shopping for luxury items, they still want to have fun in that shopping experience, and probably even more so than a consumer with a lower budget, because that person dropping $20,000, $30,000 plus on a piece of jewelry, they definitely don't need that piece of jewelry. They are buying it because of the thrill of it, the fun, the indulgence. So that sense of playfulness, I think, is even more important with the luxury pieces. Let's see. What advice would you give to a jewelry wholesaler advertising to retailers rather than to individual consumers? That's a really great question. I think for retailers, it's not only about the fun, but the ease. These retailers are super busy, overwhelmed. They get solicited many times a day by independent brands, by wholesalers who are trying to sell them their products. So looking at fun as a way to create ease and accessibility in that customer experience for them. And that can come through definitely your content marketing. So educational blog posts, educational videos, audio content, a focus on really educating those retailer consumers, but trying to make it fun and accessible and engaging, because again, nobody has time to sit around and consume boring content. So if you can find a way to make it entertaining, but also valuable, that will be amazing for those people. When you're a new brand, how to create effective brand awareness. I think it starts with really standing out. A lot of new brands that I see today are a little bit of same in the way that they approach their branding and marketing, because they're new, they haven't done it before. They're looking to see what other jewelry brands are doing to kind of understand how to enter the marketplace. But in that way, you're doing yourself a disservice, because you are just coming across like everyone else. And as we all know on this Zoom call, jewelry is a very saturated market. Not that it's a bad thing. I think there's space for every kind of brand. There are opportunities for every kind of brand, but you have to really bring the individuality. So looking for ways to distinguish yourself, not only on the product level, but also on the overall brand and presentation level. So that is super important to think about. Advertising for a specific product. Do you see anything working better for Facebook or Insta ads, video, stills, story? Yeah, I think again, it really depends on who your target customer is, because different demographics respond differently to different content, but video still tends to work the best overall. Whether that's in a story or like a normal type of post, that dynamic content is always going to work better than anything else. So really thinking about unique, really short videos that you can share in your ads, and testing and experimenting with them on your customers to see how they respond, and using that feedback to continue improving your strategy overall. Any other questions before we wrap up today? I also want to mention, if you think of something after this and you want to like reach out to me directly, you can find me on Instagram at Joya Marketing, JOYA Marketing. I'm going to type that out really quick so you have it. And then you can also always email me, Larissa, that's LARYSSA at joyjoya.com. And again, I invite you to check out my podcast, both audio and video format, and check out my book. There's so many helpful resources there. And I'll just answer one more question before we wrap up. Do you recommend weekly or monthly newsletters for customers via email? Are these still popular and beneficial to a luxury jewelry company? Oh, yes. Email marketing is still very effective for all types of jewelry brands. If only to keep your brand top of mind with that customer, that is the most important thing. Because again, consumers have so many options in the marketplace. If you are not at the forefront of who they are thinking about at the time that they are ready to purchase, you are going to miss out on that sale. In regard to the timing of weekly or monthly newsletters, again, it really depends on your goals with email marketing. It depends on your customers. There's no one answer to this question. I mean, I think more frequent is better, but also if you can't sustain quality of emails on a more frequent schedule, then less frequent is better. So I'm sorry, there's no one size fits all answer to these questions. But thank you, everyone. This was very fun for me. I hope that you have fun, and I hope that you are inspired to add a little bit more fun to your marketing. And I hope you have a good rest of your day.